Konnichiwa, bitch.
Hey man, we back. And today, we're here with the end of the year list. Before we get into it, hey man, you know, this year, low-key kinda mid, I can't even hold you. But you do have your highs. Even though we weren't completely spoiled, because the last few years, I want to say, like, it's just been week after week. Good release, highlight. The lists were so hard to do the last few years. It was just a matter of time when things were going to slow down, and now coming to the end of the year and hearing what's coming out soon at the start of 2024, I think it's going to get even more crazier next year. You have your little dips, you know, every decade, and this was one of them. But it makes you appreciate the times that you are completely spoiled with a bunch of releases. Discourse this year has been very, very trash. You know, like I said before, that's gonna change as well. You know, I'm looking forward to the new year, but now it is time to look back at what has happened this year. These are the top 25 best albums of the year. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Actually, I got to state the EP of the year and the rap MVP of this year. EP of the year goes to Red Veil with Playing with Fire. Great representation of the title. This whole project was a bunch of heaters. A great follow-up to Learn to Swim. Like I said, man, I'm super excited to see where Red Veil is going to go next. His development is truly, you know, beautiful to see. Definitely looking forward to his next project. But the rap MVP of this year, you know, you had a few. I think in the running for this whole entire year, you had Nas, dropped 2 projects this year, very high quality. You had Danny Brown, 2 projects this year, very high quality. You also have JPEG Mafia with a project this year and producing a fuck ton of tracks this year. But it really only comes down to one man who takes the cake for the rap MVP, and that is Billy Woods. Yes, Billy Woods is indeed the rap MVP of this year of 2023, mostly due to 2 releases that he's dropped this year. And yeah, he has Feature of the Year. Yes, that is my award for a rap MVP. So give a round of applause to Billy Woods, you know, Mr. Woods himself. So let's get right into the top 25, man. At number 25, we have The Pink Tape by Lil Uzi Vert. I always appreciated Lil Uzi with how he always attacks a track, whether it is aesthetically, whether it's vocally, flow-wise. Though what he lacks lyrically, I think he always brings a certain type of energy that is either raw, feel good, or puts you in your feels. And honestly, though this album is hella bloated, it is like 25 tracks long, get a very good amount of tracks that are a mix of all of those. At one moment you will be like raging, the next moment you are in your feels, and then the next moment you're feeling like a werewolf. There's a lot of like different phases throughout, and I don't think this is his best by any means. I think his performance on here is very enjoyable to me. A lot of the production on here I do enjoy. Some people might find it pretty samey or generic, but honestly, Uzi with his very space aesthetic, and then having him dabble in that rage sound, definitely put it in a better light. At number 21, we have Ganger by V's, Detroit rapper. Got a lot of buzz this year, a lot of like critical acclaim with this project, rightfully so. For what Detroit and how on fire this type of sound is, this is a perfect encapsulation of like, this is what the style is. He's very monotone and laid back and like all leaned up and shit, but like his witty one-liners and how he attacks every single beat is definitely like some of the most enjoyable of this year. And he showed why he's one of the most promising and probably one of the best Detroit rappers out right now within that lane. At number 23, we have Bad News by Blue and Real Badman. This is the best Real Badman project, I will say, to date. It's just due to the fact of the caliber of an artist Blue is. This album is very straight to the point. You know, if you like Blue raps, this is definitely something to tap into. At number 22, we have Glorious Game by L. Michaels Afar and Black Thought. What can I say, man? Black Thought, one of the greatest rappers of all time, with jazz production accompanying him. Though I don't think the production is as phenomenal as a Cheat Codes, I truly feel like this is a good follow-up and a good filler for the next Streams of Thought project. The reason why this album made it is just really due to the fact that Black Thought is still like rapping at this level at the age that he is. His poetry is on a whole different level. At number 21, we have KoolAid Pink Sifu and Ali with Leather Boulevard. Pink Sifu, like I said before, one of the most versatile rappers in the game today. Dropped another project this year for this project right here in Leather Boulevard. Sifu is getting into his neo-soul R&B bag, and yeah, floating. Like, talk about him getting in a Soulquarians vibe. He definitely does that. He excels at it. There's some areas within this album that I feel like the pacing could have been better, but for the most part, if you're looking for that neo-soul type of vibe that hits the soul, this is it. At number 20, we have Magic 3 by Nas. The end of the trilogy, not ending on the strongest note, but still very, very solid in quality for what it is. Some fiery raps from Nas and some great production from Hit Boy. Tracks like Fever, Based on True Events, 1 and 2, 1-800 Nas and Hit. I love this feeling. Definitely some highlights in Hit Boy. You know, he just understands and knows Nas. At number 19, this might be a surprising album to a few people, I guess, because I wasn't like totally positive in the review when I first dropped, but now you know, I've come around. Mick Jenkins with The Patience, Mick's best album since the Waters mixtape. He sounds hungry, he is on fire throughout this project. Great wordplay, though I feel like I was left wanting more with this project, whether it's production wise or, you know, full concept fleshing out. For what you get on here, if you just want straight rap over some solid ass production, this is it. Tracks like 2004, Pasta, Show and Tell, Michelin Star pretty much perfectly encapsulate what he is as a lyricist, as a storyteller. Alright, with these next two projects, we're going to get in our little ignorant trap bag. This one being Young Nudie with Gumbo. Young Nudie probably has one of, if not the best ears for trap production, and how he just slides on every single beat. Yeah, if you know, you know. Still one of the wildest tracks of the year is Peaches and Eggplants with 21 Savage, but definitely my favorite track on here is Passion Fruit. Young Nudie loves rapping about food. I don't know what it is. At number 17, we have Microphone Fiend by Z Loopers. Z Loopers' best project to date, man. Like, everything you want from a Z Loopers project, this is pretty much it. From the chaotic raps to the funny ass one-liners to the very dynamic production on this project, structured like a mixtape. Honestly, you get the best qualities of Z Loopers on here. Z Loopers is the quintessential nonsensical rapper that you know, that I love. At number 15, we have Magic 2 by Nas. Some of Hit Boy's hardest beats land on here. Tracks like Motion, Black Magic, how Nas attacks all of these, his storytelling still being on point. There's not much to say that hasn't been said by other people and that I haven't already said before. At number 15, we have Quaranta. Did I pronounce that right? By Danny Brown. I'm surprised with the direction that Danny went, but I appreciate it at the same time. You've never gotten this side of Danny ever. I really do appreciate how vulnerable he was on this project. Tracks like the title track. Jane's Terrific Vacation is one of the best songs to drop this year. Celibate with Mike was definitely a treat. Mike absolutely obliterated that track. Tanter is always a treat. Alchemist and Danny Brown. Introspection like this is definitely appreciated by me. At number 14, we have Voyer Dy by Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist. Kind of exactly what you expect from these two, isn't it? Earl, very introspective still, but very open and kind of positive in a lot of aspects on this project. A lot of the sample chops from Alchemist on this project are super dope, and the minimalism definitely does fit Earl's type of style of being very straight to the point with his raps. He might not rap for 3 minutes, but that minute and a half that he does rap for has, you know, 5 minutes worth of content, you know what I mean? So much things to dig into, and I'm still picking through it to this day. At number 13, Glaucoma 2 by Key Glock. Hard as bricks. That's one thing I gotta say. Hard as bricks. You want some hard ass trap bangers to bump in the whip, this is it. Key Glock has definitely, you know, grown on me over time, and I think he truly found it with this project. I don't really got much to say other than that. You're just gonna have to listen to it. Be prepared that you might need a neck brace after it. That's it. That's all I gotta say. At number 12, we got Sex, Money, Drugs by Lucky. Lucky's best studio album. It's truly an encapsulation of what Lucky's all about. The very laid back, leaned up, drug heavy raps. that are very, very depressing, that get in your bag. He's still rapping about the same shorty that he's been dealing with for the past 5 or so years. What did she do to you that put you into this mind state? I don't know, but it's making beautiful music out of it. So when it comes to trap albums, right, there's nothing too in-depth for me to say, because a lot of the shit, content-wise, is the same. But it really comes down to flow, aesthetic, and if them beats are not, it checks all those boxes. At number 11, we have Earth at My Feet by Aliko Igama. Very much influenced and inspired by Mike, Earl Sweatshirt, that branch of, you know, underground hip-hop. Honestly, how he tacks it and how he puts his personality within it is honestly beautiful to see. The production on here, very reminiscent of Mike, with how simple but how beautiful and soulful the chops are on here, along with his soothing-ass voice. Yeah, this is definitely one of those albums that, you know, you'll get a lot from lyrically, but also just something that is perfectly chill for its lo-fi and kind of muddy aesthetic. At number 10, we have McKinley Dixon with Beloved, Paradise, and Jazz. This is the 2023 version of Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. From the very lush and jazzy production to, you know, McKinley Dixon's fiery raps that shows a lot of, you know, substance and a lot of things to pick out of. Honestly, McKinley has potential to be one of those ones in the underground. Like, honestly, how you went from your prior album to this, he went 3 steps above, you know, where he was, I feel like. But definitely a type of production, a type of sound, a type of vein of rap that is very much needed. His introspection on Tyler Forever, tracks like Run 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 and Sun I Rise, like, those tracks are fucking beautiful tracks, especially Run 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 and how the structure of that goes from between the hook and the verses. Like, honestly, some Andre 3000 type shit. At number 9, Hotel 1105 by D2X. Like, this is like a love letter to a whole bunch of things. D2X, Chicago rapper, very much, you know, embracing that old school college dropout type sound that honestly, you know, brought me back. That's how crazy it was. Along with the introspective lyricism on here. Like I said, it felt like a love letter to his city, to his family. You know, a lot of, you know, reflecting on himself and talking about his aspirations of going far into the game. It's the type of soul-touching music that, honestly, the world needs. At number 8, we got Crimson by Owen Forward. Executive produced by yours truly. So yes, there's a little asterisk by this placement, but let me get my shit off. First of all, album, you know, a letter about just overcoming personal struggle, personal trauma. If you want someone to talk about black plight, but also talk about how that relates to them and how they, you know, overcame that struggle and what they're trying to do moving forward. This is one of the, you know, strongest encapsulations that I've heard in a while. No bias. A lot of the sample chops on here are absolutely crazy. How this man thought of putting Ian Triplin and Keith Sweat sampled together on one song is actually pretty creative. For a producer slash rapper, this is like some of the most creative samples that isn't really, I wouldn't say it's super experimental by any means, but it's definitely more sticking to the roots of RZA, Ninth Wonder. Definitely that, you know, branch of hip-hop of, you know, having that type of soul within the production on top of, you know, such thought-provoking poetry at the same time, you know what I mean? This is truly a great project, and definitely check it out if you haven't. At number 7, we have It's Too Quiet by Pink Sifu and Too Rich Benji. Probably the funnest project I've heard this year. Pink Sifu and, you know, Too Rich, they've always had a very, very dope chemistry, especially on Gumbo. They made a full, you know, fleshed out project of just fun bangers back to back to back. How all of them float on every single beat. A lot of the one-liners here are hilarious as hell as well. Like I said, this just proves the greatness and the versatility of Pink Sifu. How he dropped a neo-soul project earlier this year, and now he's on some trap shit, and he's probably gonna, I don't know what he's gonna do next. Like, who knows what is he gonna do traditional hip-hop? Is he gonna do some abstract shit? Or is he gonna go back into that punk aesthetic? I don't even know. I don't know what he's gonna do. But this right here, honestly, just, it's fun. The features are jam-packed. Some very diverse trap production on here that, honestly, you don't get too much of these days, and that's what makes this album so refreshing. At number 6, this is going to be a controversial one. We got Noname with Sundial. I kind of wanted to do a reaction to this when this album dropped, like, because there's so much depth within Noname's lyrics, and there's a lot of shit going on with this album. I can't even hold you. There's a lot of shit popping off on this. Though I don't necessarily agree with a lot of Noname's ideologies and takes, I think just her perspective in general is just honestly just a very refreshing thing to hear, especially when you don't get a lot of rappers like her. Like, what she does as a rapper is super rare. From the flows to the wordplay to the type of sonics that she goes for. Yeah, there are some controversial things on here, like the J Electronica verse. Honestly, for what you get on here, this is honestly Noname's most catchiest. Features on here are some of her strongest as well. Common and Billy Woods, it was crazy to hear. I like how Noname throughout this whole entire project, she says a lot of stuff on here that is very much important. She also says some stuff that, you know, might step on a little bit of toes, but also at the same time, what I always respect about Noname is that she's very, very receptive and self-aware within her lyrics, especially on tracks like Namesake. I really like her perspective and food for thought that she always brings to the table, whether I disagree with it or not. The production on here shines throughout this whole entire project. Her ear for beats is still second to none. At number 5, we have Ways of Knowing by Navy Blue. Navy Blue back with, you know, another 3-album run that on the same level as everything else that he's dropped. First track right away, like, made me cry. Like, this album is so beautiful. Just having that, you know, self-awareness that and knowing that, you know, you're him. You're that guy. You know what I mean? And understanding that and being that, you know, medium of being that person to look to, how he presents that and how he attacks that and fleshes it out the whole entire time, and how it relates to his grandfather and how his grandfather's influence and teachings, you know, made him who he was today. It's honestly beautiful. At number 4, we have Scaring the Hoes by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. Y'all know it was going to come up at sooner or later, right? Exactly what you expect. Chaotic, all over the place, of some of the craziest tracks of the year. Orange Juice Jones to Kingdom Hearts Key to God Loves You is probably one of, if not the best 3-track run of the year. I'm saying that right now. Peggy continues to elevate production-wise. Perfectly molded these beats for Danny Brown just to be so nonsensical and all over the place. You know, and JPEG Mafia he's just being JPEG Mafia at the end of the day. This album did indeed scare the hoes. It scared me. First listen, if you want to see my reaction to that. An automatic, you know, underground classic. At number 3, we have Billy Woods and Kenny Siegel with Maps. Billy Woods' performance on here is definitely some of the most grim, but, you know, introspective to date. I think Kenny and Woods, you know, chemistry together is still very much unmatched in how, you know, Kenny Siegel created such a great foundation for Billy Woods. Just to, you know, paint his conceptual pictures is super, super dope. Features on here, top to bottom, are all banger features. Like, there's not much you can say. You know exactly who you're getting on a Backwoods project. The rap MVP of the year. And this is one of the albums that prove it. At number 2, we have Mike with Burning Desire. Mike's best album for every single aspect. Production-wise, structure, you know, there's some things I said in the original reaction that I do disagree with now. I said he could have trimmed a few tracks from this project to make it like 16 to 18 tracks, but honestly, this album blows by so quickly, like it doesn't even matter. Mike's heavy, heartfelt writing and relating it to the overall concept on here just shows how, you know, great of a writer Mike is. A lot of the production on here is, might I say, J Dilla level chops. Like Burning Desire, the title track, might be my track of the year. That title track is honestly ridiculous. From the production to what he's writing about, that is, you know, the heart of the album. Displays everything about this whole entire album and what it's meant. And Mike just honestly lets it fly. Like, this is definitely his most ambitious project, I'd say. This album's truly, truly awesome. And then at number 1, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips by Arm & Hammer. Like, is there anything to say about this project that hasn't been said before? There's so much things that they talk about within this project, and so many directions that they go, and I'm not just talking lyrically. I'm talking sonically too. This project is probably at their most unpredictable, but this is like a complete 180 of what they're going for with Alchemist, with the JPEG Mafia production, LP production, child actor. This is honestly like, this is the craziest, genre pushing project of the year. And I know I sound pretentious as fuck saying that. Like, no one's touching this. Like, no, Billy Woods is the MVP. Elucid is, the Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? Like, but don't worry, he has his moments that he does, outdo Woods on this project. This is another underground classic. So yeah, that is the list. That is indeed the list. I appreciate y'all's support, man. I really do appreciate it. Everybody sticking around. So I got nothing else to say other than that. Have a happy new year. See y'all whenever, whenever I get a new video idea or when Cardi drops. That's all I gotta say. I'm not gonna react to Kanye. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm out.